ICE has detained the man charged in connection with the death of a missing Antioch woman. The Department of Homeland Security says agents arrested Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez yesterday afternoon at a market in Chicago, and he remains in ICE custody. They say he is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico.
Meanwhile,
you have stated over and over and over again that you don't want ICE in Chicago. If that had been Stacy, if that had been your wife Stacy's body that had been decapitated, abused.
That's not an appropriate question.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. So I want to come on today and talk about the worst mayor ever, and that's Mayor Brandon Johnson. Mayor Brandon Johnson has to be the worst politician that I have ever seen. Yes, worse than Gavin Newsom, worse than Karen Bass, worse than Governor Westmore, worse than all of these people, because Mayor Brandon Johnson absolutely does not care. Chicago has seen the worst times under his leadership, whether we're talking about his budget deficits all the way to the problem with the illegal migrants, because Brandon Johnson is one of those Democrats that's hell-bent on actually supporting the illegal migrant movement. So much so, he is actually going against his own constituents who don't want these illegal migrants in their communities, and now tragedy has struck. I want you to see this story on a woman who went missing because Mayor Brandon Johnson and other Democratic officials refused to hold illegal migrants in detention centers and deport them. They want them there and they keep them there, and then they just release them to the public to do exactly what happened in this story. Watch.
Police has detained the man charged in connection with the death of a missing Antioch woman. The Department of Homeland Security says agents arrested Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez yesterday afternoon at a market in Chicago, and he remains in ICE custody. They say he is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. Now, you remember back in April, Mendoza Gonzalez was charged with concealing a corpse, abusing a corpse, and obstruction of justice in the death of Megan Boss. Police in Waukegan found Boss's body in a container in Mendoza Gonzalez's yard. She'd initially been reported missing back in March.
All right, so you guys just saw that. So you see here that this illegal migrant did one of the most heinous crimes by decapitating this woman and putting her in a bleach-filled container on his property. However, the Democrats don't care about this. Governor Pritzker of Illinois, nor Brandon Johnson. They continue to defy ICE regulations. They continue to not work with ICE. They don't want to work with the Trump administration at any point. And yet it is the American citizens and people in these states and cities that are being harmed. What happened to this woman did not have to happen because this man was not supposed to be in the country, let alone in the city of Chicago. And this is why Mayor Brandon Johnson has been getting a lot of pushback from his constituents. The local media has also been taking him to task, and this one reporter has been holding him accountable at every local public meeting. I want you guys to see the back and forth on this very topic, and you won't believe how Mayor Johnson decided to respond to it. Watch.
Megan Boss, a body that had been decapitated, abused, kept in a.
We gotta get to the question.
I have a constitutional right to ask a question.
You do.
Okay? I'm a credentialed member of the press. I do have a constitutional right to ask my question.
Absolutely, we want to get to your question. And
I'm trying to. If you didn't interrupt me, I would be done with my question.
This is not the first time I respectfully ask you to ask a question.
I'd like to finish my question now. May I?
Thank you.
Megan Boss, decapitated, her body abused in a dumpster, a bleach-filled dumpster on this man's property, right?
Okay.
You have stated over and over and over again that you don't want ICE in Chicago. If that had been Stacy, if that had been your wife Stacy's body that had been decapitated, abused.
That's not an appropriate question. Yeah.
It's a very real people. The people of Chicago are asking me to ask you this very specific question. Had that been your wife Stacy, would you want ICE to pick up this illegal alien?
I'm not going to entertain your question.
You're not going to answer. Well, okay. My follow-up question is regarding.
I actually believe that what you're saying is quite threatening.
What?
It's quite threatening.
Really?
Can we move on to the next person here?
Excuse me.
This is absolutely out of line. Mayor Brandon Johnson just said to a member of the press and the general public, because I'm sure he lives in the state of Illinois and more than likely he lives in Chicago. This man is stating that people of the public want to know why you won't allow ICE to come in and get these criminals. Because if this had been your wife, how would you feel about this? And Mayor Brandon Johnson just goes in to say, oh, you're threatening me. You're threatening me. This is quite threatening. This is how he's deflecting. This man is deflecting, okay? This is why I say this is the worst mayor, because this man does not know how to answer public questions effectively, not only to the tune of feeling empathetic about a young woman who lost her life to a policy that you have as a sanctuary city, but actually showing the public that you do care. And it's all because Democrats really don't care. And Mayor Brandon Johnson just proved that.
And if you continue to behave in such a way, we'll just make sure that we take the appropriate steps. You are threatening, you're provocative.
This is a question that the real people of
No, this
Chicago
is a-
are asking.
William, please give me the microphone. We ask for respect. We give it to you. I expect the same.
This is a very serious
Sir,
question.
We understand. Please give me the
From
microphone.
the adage of
I do not wanna have
success
this
has many
conversation.
fathers,
Please.
failure is an orphan.
Have more respect for the office and for yourself right now.
This is a
please,
very
sir.
serious question
I
that the real
understand.
people of Chicago are asking me to
And
ask.
I am seriously asking you to show respect for this office and give me the
What
microphone.
about the respect for the real people of Chicago who
William?
want this question asked
Hey,
and answered?
We are done,
go
sir.
ahead. You got it.
Please give me the mic. Thank you.
Thanks.
And they respond by taking the mic from this man. The man is asking a question that the general public wants to know. Why won't the mayor, who is voted in by the general public, why won't he answer this question? And it's because he has no answers. Okay, he's in a failing city because of his policies. The city is failing financially because Mayor Brandon Johnson is running a deficit. And Mayor Brandon Johnson doesn't have any safety protocols to keep its citizens safe. You cannot make this stuff up. The Democratic Party and the people that they elect do not care about their constituents. All they care about is getting reelected, votes, and these illegal immigrants. Now, last but not least, I want to get into how Donald Trump comes in with this case. The young lady that went missing in this case, her mother went to the White House and pleaded with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump listened. And this is how this whole case came to be, because Donald Trump, the president of the United States, decided to listen to one mother, one constituent from one of the 50 states. I want you to watch this news story and see how an actual leader is supposed to listen to its constituents and how an actual leader should respond to a crisis. Watch.
It turns out that the arrest of this suspect was due in part to President Trump talking with her mother just 6 days ago at the White House. Let's take a quick look at that.
I'm trying to forward. No, you don't.
Wow.
Hard to hear what was being said there by her mom, but the president clearly saying, watch what happens, is what we are now seeing a direct result of that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. President Trump is a man of his word, and he's a man of action. And he heard Megan Boss's mother's story. What a depraved act that this illegal alien in our country would take Megan Boss's body and put it in a trash can filled with bleach, dismembering it horribly as her family for months was searching for her. It's despicable. When he was arrested, he was ultimately released within 48 hours, as your reporter there mentioned. But this lands on the feet of J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Johnson of Chicago. The fact that they allowed these sanctuary city policies to release these individuals onto our streets and terrorize more individuals is despicable. There is blood on the hands of these sanctuary city politicians. And I don't know how much blood it's going to take for them to stop these political games that put the American people's lives in jeopardy.
So here you have a woman pleading to the president of the United States, all right? Not the person controlling her city, not the governor of her state. She has to go to the president of the United States to actually get something done about her daughter being murdered. When I tell you this makes absolutely no sense, it makes absolutely no sense. You pay taxes in the city, you pay taxes in the state, and the people of the state don't do anything. But President Trump went ahead and made sure it got done. If you see it on the screen and you heard it in the video, Donald Trump said, watch what happens, right? And that's because Donald Trump actually cares. He went and did something about it, and he didn't have to. All right. In the grand scheme of things, he has way bigger issues to deal with. However, this is what leadership looks like. He's never too busy to actually help one of his constituents and citizens of the United States who's not getting the help that they deserve. All thanks to Donald Trump and the members of the ICE team that went and got this criminal and did something about a problem in Chicago when the mayor of Chicago refused to, and when the governor of Illinois also refused. You guys get down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this story. Let me know what you think about this young woman here who absolutely did not deserve to die like this. There's so many stories like this in Democratic cities, and their stories don't get to see the light of day. This mother was very fortunate, but there are so many others that are not as fortunate. And it's a shame, because in the United States of America, where you pay your tax dollars, where you are a law-abiding citizen, this should not be, especially for people who don't belong in this country. You guys get down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. It's your girl Mika, and I'm out. Peace.